I know, you for most of the training camp you had everybody around, but just the first 2 weeks you haven't had Jack for pretty much, say for that first possession. DeJuan was sort of in and out there against Baltimore. Just how difficult is it once you get in the game to get that cohesiveness, that cohesion that you've needed to help the overall, the overall process?
Yeah, maybe I feel this way because I've worked with the position so long, but I think continuity of that position in particular, that position group where you need 5 guys to see the game through one set of eyes, continuity is ideal. It's what we all want. I certainly feel like myself, Ben, and Sanders are better coaches when we have our starters in there, like everybody in this world. But we also know the reality of the National Football League. It's going to be a next man up, and ideal situations don't always play out. So to answer your question, it's not ideal, but we also have trained people who are professional football players that should be able to step in there and get it right. From a communication standpoint, I think when you talk about what Ethan Posick does by giving us clear points and a clear understanding to make sure we are seeing the game through one set of eyes, and that's his, and the communication between Joel and the tackle and Wyatt and the tackle. Those things, like whoever's in there, those 3 vets are doing such a good job getting us on the same page.
Assess the run game through the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't think it's where we want it to be. I won't lie to you there, and I think had too many times in the first game where we weren't hatted the way we wanted to be. I think you looked at what happened in the second game, and aside from the first series, I think we did a pretty good job getting hats on hats and moving some people. So I'm pleased with the progress from week 1 to 2, and I think anytime you're that's really what you want to see from your group in all areas is the big growth from week 1 to week 2, but there's certainly more steps I believe we can take.
Packers, and with them adding Parsons to that defensive front, like what have you seen from him on film, and how much are they moving him around, do you think?
Yeah, I think typical Micah Parsons stuff. Like you look at the breakdown in one game 1 versus game 2, and one game he's primarily on the left, the next game he's primarily on the right, and he's also going to be at the 3 technique. He's going to be over the center. He is everywhere. So what have I seen from them? I've seen 33 quarterback pressures and 8 sacks. It's a really, really good front.
That there's been some miscommunication, some missed assignments on the offense that's leading to some of the ailments that you guys are looking to clean up. When you think about it, is it more miscommunication? Is it more you need to work on technique? Is it how do you clean that up in this week when you're looking at what has maybe gone wrong?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, and it's almost play by play, and it's different people. It's not always the same person. It's nothing like that. It's we've got to continue to get time on task with our reps, and we've got to continue to have people do their job. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business, and it's a performance business, and we all know their jobs, and I got to do a better job making sure everybody knows who they're assigned to, how they're supposed to get there, and then we got to get them there.
How is DeJuan doing from a performance standpoint, and then also supposed to be really hot again on Sunday, and might you guys have to give him spell him a little bit occasionally again?
Yeah, that rotation will come down to Kev and what he thinks is best. I thought that was a good idea to kind of have the preemptive strike and get him some rest. I thought it was I'm a kid from the South, and I thought it was pretty warm the other day in Baltimore, and he's got 120 pounds on me, so I can imagine he thought it was warm too. So, again, we'll see what Kev wants to do from a rotational standpoint. But you ask how he's playing, and I think, you look at the second half of football there in that game against the Ravens, and it's the best football we've seen from DeJuan with very good strain and some very good things. Now, again, there's still a rep of pass pro. We've got to clean up. We've got to get to the point. This is not good job, you're making progress. This is you've got to get your job done every play in the National Football League, and especially at his position. We know how quickly everybody in the stadium will see it if he doesn't.
What is the best half that you've seen from him? What was he doing better than you had seen earlier?
I think anytime you have an opportunity on a down block to take number 0, Raquan Smith, and put him into the ground on the other side of the formation, that's good stuff. And that's the violence and the expectation of physicality we have for our room. And so just to see him do those things and strain through some of the things through the hot weather and just continue to play and take steps in every area, not just the run game, but take some better steps in pass protection as well. And there's still so much more out there. There's no telling how much more progress we can make with DeJuan, and we're going to keep working towards it.
Good. Okay. I know DeJuan and some of the other guys on that O-line, every year in training camp, they talk about going against Miles and how helpful that is. I guess when you think about another edge rusher coming in, like Micah and the other ones you guys have to face, how how helpful are those reps, not just in the practice, but in giving guys confidence going up against guys like that?
I'm not sure how much confidence you get from going against Miles. And it being my first training camp here, I would say I didn't enjoy every moment of training camp going against Miles. What an outstanding football player he is, and so glad he is going to be in our locker room on Sunday. But you're exactly right in terms of how it prepares you to go an elite versus an elite guy. And he jumps in there during one-on-ones over the guard and over the center, much like we just talked about with Micah. So it is helpful to have one of those freak shows, those werewolves line up across from you and give you the reps against somebody that is that dominant of a player.
Have a guy like Micah that moves around as much as he does. Is the communication imperative? I mean, how do you send help when you don't necessarily know where he's going to be from down to down?
Okay, you're asking for the game plan. We can't give you that. No, there's a lot of creativity that has to go into it, but the communication is a paramount. Like anytime we want to find an opportunity to get extra hats on him, the other thing we can't sleep on is when we talk about this front, we got to talk about 52 Rashawn Gary too. Like he's a dominant football player, and so the fact that they have both of them makes it even harder to address just one issue. So again, yeah, we've got some creative ways to do it in this plan, and hopefully you like them on Sunday.
Obviously, the hope is Joel's going to be able to play, on Sunday. The expectation is he will. But that said, if, the back tightens up or whatever, Tevin, just what have you seen out of him, getting to work with him this offseason, this training camp?
Yeah, Tevin's gotten better and better every week we've had a chance to work with him. Like you go back to the first preseason game, and I didn't think he performed anywhere near he was capable of, and he's built on those performances, and he's continued to grow. I think myself and the other coaches in the room have a lot of confidence in Tevin if he is the one out there. The experience he had in Chicago, whether it was playing tackle or playing guard, this is a guy that's played a lot of football in this league and played good football, and we certainly would expect him to do the same. But I'm going to be right there with you on Joel. I think Joel's playing as good a football as anybody in the National Football League at the guard position. I think Wyatt's really close behind him. So I love what those guards are doing, and we certainly want him out there. We want Tevin to have whatever role we can get for him. But at the end of the day, I believe this in my core. Joel is like the modern gladiator. If he can walk, I believe he'll play on Sunday, and I appreciate that so much.
One of those backup guards, Zach Center, he's been inactive these first couple weeks. What does he need to do to kind of get called up?
Just keep working. We love Zach, and we love the progress he's making. And again, I've mentioned it to you before, I believe. I don't feel like he had a rookie season last year. He certainly didn't have a rookie off season. So he's not doing anything wrong. He's just continuing to grow into the NFL football player we want him to be.
Where do you see Jack this week, and are you optimistic that he can get out there?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that thing goes, and he's another one. Certainly a better coach when he's out there. So we'll see, and ultimately Kev and Jack will talk about that.
What about the tush push for a second, and what you've seen with the false starts, and is that something that you guys would try to do? Do you have that in your repertoire? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the tush push, I'm not sure Joe will be Jalen in that regard. They're very different in terms of their makeup and everything else. So I don't know that we'd ever get to a point where we're asking Joe to quarterback sneak it 4 or 5 times a game and have everybody pushing on him. But at the same time, I think it's a very effective play. I have a lot of respect for how they run it. I just think there's more creative ways that we can do similar things and get the surge that we want, the physical get-off that we want out of our 4-point stances where we're able to move people. I mean, that's what we talk about in short yards and goal line in our room is we've got to, if ball's on the 1-yard line, we got to score with our man. We got to get our man to make this job easy for the back. And got a lot of confidence in our backs and in Q to run this thing downhill and go get a yard, even if everybody fell down on the field. We got a lot of belief in him. So you combine those two things, and we should have a good way to move the sticks in short yards and goal line and continue to be able to excel in those situations. Thank y'all.
Buttons. That would be a bold move, just to hit the red buttons on all of these. Would not be liked.
To start off talking about Grant and that play he makes in the end zone, like punching the ball out. What have you seen from him this season, and especially in that Ravens game after, he had some big words before the game too?
Just a man that's going to back up his words. That's what you respect about him. He's worked hard and has really pushed the group to emphasize getting, his hand, get our hands on the ball. And that was an op for him to work a technique that we put a lot of time in the offseason. And you saw it again yesterday in practice, just getting, punching and trying to get that ball. That's a huge play. I mean, it's a point play. Took points off the board. So it's really awesome. Stay chill. Tough situation where you have Lamar and his legs, and we got to account for that. And then, you do that, there's some grass back there, and you got to do a great job finishing the play, like Grant did. So proud of him, backing his words up. That's what he is. He's a man of, he's going to say something, he's going to back it up.
You go from Derrick Henry to Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
What is, obviously, size-wise, there's a massive difference, but does the philosophy and how you approach stopping them change much at all?
This is one of the best backs in the NFL. I really believe this. I mean, his vision, coupled with his size, a lot like Derrick Henry, is elite. So your mentality of being really gang tackling, mentality, but also sinking your teeth into the tackle and locking the jaw on a player like that is massive, because if you don't, he's just going to pull away and push through. But like Jim said, he's just got a really good knack of trusting where the hole's going to be and bursting through it. And I think that's what makes him special, not only the fact that he can play all downs and he's big and he's strong and he's tough.
Back to Grant. Obviously, we know he's so good, like in the box,
Yeah.
plus the line scrimmage. But I know you also want him in coverage. You guys don't do the free and strong safety thing. So how do you balance kind of wanting him near the line, but also using him as kind of that deep safety?
Yeah, we had someone in the room say strong safety, free safety. And I looked at him like, we don't do that. We're DBs, and Grant's done a really good job in terms of growing his game in that space in the offseason through training camp, and you're seeing it a little bit too now as the season goes. So he's worked really hard at learning the third level stuff, but not just learning it. It's just a different mentality when you're back there. You got to be a little bit more patient with your feet. Your footwork initially has to be different, and it has to change. Your instincts are still your instincts, and that's probably the hardest thing for Grant because he's such an instinctual human being. But how fast you act on those instincts actually have to dial back a little bit, because if you are too aggressive, too fast, like you can be around the second level, it can hurt you. So we're just really proud of his development in terms of his footwork and how he's seeing things develop and then growing his game. Because the truth is, Grant Delpit can play strong, free, corner, nickel, dime, whatever you need it to be. It's about putting it on tape and showing the world how good of a player, not good, how great of a player he is.
When he said not hard to tackle Derrick Henry, what went through your mind at first? And then I saw you guys made him a game day captain. So how did that sort of evolve?
What went through my mind is just the competitive nature that the man plays the game with. Like, that's, to be honest with you, when he said it, I just kept moving, because that's how Grant thinks. Like, it's not anything against the other person. It's just the competitive nature that he has. And it's not even the competitive nature. He's not here to compete. He's here to dominate. And that's how his brain is. So for him, for me, it's just like, yeah, it's Grant. Like, if you know him, that's how he is. And like the question earlier, he's going to go up there and back it up like he did. So proud of the group for backing him up too. And I'm proud of him for being who he is, the man he is.
Wasn't on defense, but when Ronnie is in that protector role on the punt and it gets blocked, like, how do you see him kind of respond to that adversity in the day since?
It's my job to get that man on the bench to let the play go and move on. And as soon as he sat down, I saw it on his face. And you guys, you don't get to see that human's face when he sits on the bench and he looks the way he looks and he feels the way he feels. He's still human. He's killed him. It hurt him. But it was such a lot left to do. And we talked about it. I said, look, let it go. Move on. Let your feelings go. Your feelings are okay. We all have feelings. I don't care who you are. You, me, we all have feelings, emotional sways. The hardest thing is letting them go and continuing to move on with your life or in this situation, that game. And he did a great job of just letting it go and continuing to stay locked in. And he played well on defense the rest of the day. So proud of the resiliency that Kevin talks about showing up in a player in a really tough moment.
He had a knee issue yesterday that, maybe puts a little bit of a question mark on him. But Tucker Kraft, the tight end for Green Bay, just the way they use him, what he can do, the matchup he creates specifically for your position group and for the defense as a whole, if he's able to go. What does he do?
Again, I said this about Jacobs a couple minutes ago. I think number 85 is one of the best young tight ends in the NFL. Like, this guy is physical. He can run routes. His yards after catch are top of the league. I mean, he does everything. He can do everything a tight end can do and some. And he plays with just this edge and toughness. Obviously, if he's not there, it's a tough deal for them because he's such a good player. I think the personnel department with Green Bay has done a great job. You look at him, Musgrave, the back. I mean, the receivers, obviously, Jordan Love. Shout out Utah State. I was there. But, he's a great player, too. So, biggest thing is just his ability to do so much. Some tight ends in the league are just like F receivers, and some are just inline tight ends. Not this player. This player can do it all, and he plays really hard. So, God willing, hopefully he's okay. But he's a tough match, and I think he's going to grow into one of the best tight ends in the NFL when it's all said and done.
I know you guys are searching for that takeaway, right? I mean, you talk about it all the time. So, how big of an emphasis do you guys place on that? And how tough is it when luck's part of it, right? The fumble, Cam punches out the fumble, and you guys can't jump on it.
Look, at the end of the day, the emphasis is there. I mean, we don't go 1 to 2 practices without Kevin designating a takeaway period with the first thing we do, like coming out of stretch. It happens. But at the same time, there is some component to, I don't want to say luck, but being in the right place at the right time. And that is really what we're stressing. Run to the ball, get on the ground, and when you do have the opportunity to punch. Now, you can't overstress, and then guys will start to do their own thing. And that's the key and always the tough part in defense, like just doing a good job of one or the other, right? So I do believe that they're going to come, and I do believe they're going to come in bunches. But we got to be ready to capitalize when they do, and we got to do our job before it happens.
Can you kind of go in a little more depth about that and what that looks like?
Yeah, no, Kevin's done this all the way from OTAs to, everything. It's crazy. Like, it's always there. Like, I know, I expect it. I think, like, when I'm at night, when I'm sitting in my bed or, getting ready for practice, I know that Kevin's going to have a 3-minute takeaway period where he's going to just stress it is completely emphasized on that. And it changes for everyone. So, like, whatever it is, whatever. And what I try to do is I try to make it something that the Grant play, something that will happen for that human in that situation or a similar situation. And everyone kind of changes it and tweaks it. Maybe it's a linebacker blitzing off the edge or D lineman stripping on a quarterback or it's the offensive side protecting the ball, whatever it is. So he stresses it. He shows it in his meeting rooms. Like, he does a great job of really presenting those things when we do it right in practice, in the drill, and showing up in the game. And I truly believe it's going to show up soon. It's going to show up in a positive way.
Brought to the position group?
Just a vet presence, super calm, chill, and just a guy who has a lot of knowledge of the game. But he's also brought a physical nature to it, a part that it's always been part of his game. Like, I coached Rayshawn in college. He was always an intelligent, tough player. To see him 9-10 years down the road now, it's been fun to see the growth in his game. He's seen a lot of football, been in this league a lot. I'm just really proud of the role he's embraced, too. He's been a really good player in this league for a long time, and now his role's a little different, and he's bought into that. And that's why I wanted him here. So proud of him, and he's always ready. I mean, dude smashes his nose and won't come out the game, and that's just the type of player he is. He's tough, he's physical, he's dependable, and we're glad he's here.
Punt tackle?
I think, yeah, he's had that his whole career, like even in college. I remember him because he's tough. He's going to stick his nose in the freaking fan, and that's just part of a player like that. So it's like a boxer. It's just going to happen.
Here, how quickly, I think he was released at first, but how quickly, like, when you saw that maybe transaction, were you, like, maybe calling Kevin or AB to say, hey, we got to bring this guy in?
When you slip the love note to your wife, I kind of was like, hey, B, kind of slid that over there. But he was already obviously on the list and stuff. So, but pretty quickly, so I'm glad he's here. Glad Casey's here. He's done a great job too. Talk about a vet presence with a great attitude, great mentality. First guy on the grass, maybe, just whatever he can do, he can do. I mean, scout team, this dude's flying around the field. Just really glad those two vets are here. All good? Y'all have a great day.